This event this morning is designed to launch the interim report of the party's Commission on the Future of Ireland. And the Commission was established in July 2022 by Uachtarán Féin and the party leadership. And ever since then, an intensive programme of work has been carried out right across the island and further afield. The reality is, and the premise and what goes to the very core of the Commission on the Future of Ireland, is that partition has failed. It has failed everyone in this society, regardless of what section of the community citizens come from. No one in real terms can say or point to any net outcome or benefit that has derived from the partition of our island. And the same is true in relation to the 26 counties. So partition has failed, and we need something new. We need a newly cast future, which is inclusive, which is representative, which is citizen-centred, which is multicultural, and sets out a vision of constitutional change and indeed a new national democratic constitutional settlement on the island. And so to that extent, friends, we have organised throughout the island of Ireland, north and south, in all 4 provinces, a series of public events. And these have been described as people's assemblies, and there have been a series of sectoral events with the trade union movement, with business, with those who have been involved in the professions of education, health, and so on. And the extensive work of the Commission is set out in the report and is reflected in the fact that we have organised, since its inception, 21 public events. There have been 74 independent speakers who have taken part. That is, speakers who were neither of Sinn Féin nor representing Sinn Féin. There have been thousands of attendees at all of those events, which have taken place from Derry City to Waterford, from the Connemara Gaeltacht across to Belfast. There have been hundreds of written submissions. Very importantly, there has been participation, active participation, from within the Protestant section of our community. So those from a political unionist orientation have participated, and those from the alternative Protestant tradition have also been active participants. And we're very proud and feel very privileged that those citizens and those sections of our community felt empowered to come along and set out their views on the management of constitutional change here on the island. There have been reports published in the aftermath of every single event, and we have ensured that the Commission has been taken internationally. So already in North America events have taken place, and further events are planned for North America and further afield in 2025, as well as rolling out a continuing and a planned programme of people's assemblies and sectoral events into 2025. So thank you all very much for coming along today. Tapi and Jesh, let's seize the opportunity in 2025. And on that note, I'm delighted to be able to introduce, to make the keynote address, Uachtarán Féin, Lou McDonald TD.
So, gur míle maith agah a cuairte agus táim ansásta bheith arás ansá email first. So thank you for that, Declan. I'm really delighted to be here for the launch of this really important report in the midst of the very important work that the Commission has carried out. And I want to commend that positive engagement on the future of Ireland. As Declan has said, it's happened with community groups, with women's and youth organisations, with rural Ireland, with the business sector, leis an phobal Gaelach freisin with the Irish Language Committee, economists, academics, the wider public, including Northern Protestant, Unionist, Loyalist opinion also. I think this work has been enormously helpful in encouraging an optimistic discussion around constitutional change and Irish reunification. And the report reflects something very important, that people want to be part of this conversation on the future of Ireland, on the shape of the constitutional change and how best to navigate the next length of our journey to reunification. People like to be asked, and people are pleased to be part of this process of dialogue. They want to talk about how to build an inclusive future, one that gives every person, regardless of tradition, of background, of identity, an equal stake in the new Ireland that we will construct. And I think the breadth of the panellists from all sectors of society, including Unionist and Protestant voices, willing to participate in the People's Assemblies and the sectoral events is very, very encouraging. So I want to thank every single one of you who participated in these events, and of course to our own team within Sinn Féin who organised these really important commissions. The team are here today. I won't name you individually, you know who you are, but Gura Míle Míle Maithugh Gilair. The People's Assemblies held by the Commission across the island created platforms and spaces for people of all backgrounds to voice and share perspectives, ideas, and to raise in a spirit of generosity the challenges that undoubtedly we will meet together. And if Sinn Féin and others can facilitate dialogue on constitutional change, how much more effective and how much more inclusive will the discussion be when the Irish government fulfills its constitutional responsibility and obligation and takes up a much more positive role. I'm conscious that we're publishing this report today in the aftermath of the recent general election in the South. And Wednesday will see the highest number of Sinn Féin TDs in over a century enter the Dáil. The result of the election confirms that Irish Republicans, United Irelanders, and those who aspire to a new future are now a significant, influential, and a permanent active voice in the politics of the 26 counties. What the election showed very clearly is that the days of two parties controlling both government and opposition are gone and are not coming back. Sinn Féin is now an established and a very potent force in the South. And this is a scenario, remember, that many would have believed impossible a little over a decade ago. But now a new generation looks for government beyond Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And whilst we didn't get there this time, and that is a matter of disappointment to me and to all of us, I accept that we now have to work harder and do better to convince more and more people. But make no mistake, we will do that. We don't give up, we never will. And there is so much at stake, so much that we can achieve. Through all of the noise, nobody should miss the depth and the pace of political change right across our island. This is especially important when it comes to preparing for constitutional change and reunification. Our transformation must be planned, it must be strategic, it must be informed by a conversation that is mature, that is pragmatic, and grounded in the best interests of our people, our economy, and of course, our society. Sinn Féin firmly believes that it is now incumbent on the Irish and British governments to begin preparations, to work together, to enable communities across our island to realise the potential of a new and a better future. That's the job of everybody in political leadership, including the leaders of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And so Sinn Féin is saying very clearly that the next government in Dublin must prioritise planning for constitutional change and reunification, and for the unity referendums as provided for in the Good Friday Agreement. We have published practical, exciting steps that the next government should take to advance preparations for that future. Any programme for government agreed by the incoming administration must include preparation for constitutional change and include very practical steps that the incoming Taoiseach must drive. Must prioritise an open, mature, pragmatic conversation about the future. That means the urgent publication of a Green Paper on Irish unity. It means appointing a Minister for Reunification at the Department of An Taoiseach. It means setting up an Oireachtas Committee on Constitutional Change, and, of course, establishing an inclusive Citizens' Assembly on Unity. A Citizens' Assembly can be the forum for discussing ideas and perspectives on unity, facilitating debate on the shape of the future constitutional arrangements, and clarifying the social, the economic and the political challenges. Reconciliation and healing must be at the heart of the future. To unify our country must, of course, unify our people. And that is why a Citizens' Assembly must be a warm house for every citizen of every persuasion, a place where everyone can air their views in a spirit of generosity, respect and common purpose. I say, a hen tú na hÉireann an deis is fiar atá aging bar achmhaine or nilán a winseamach agus rathúnas a cinsú de chóc. It's irresponsible of anyone in political leadership, especially those in the Irish government, to refuse to advance what is the most important conversation of a generation. And I think this report and the work behind it demonstrates what can be done when one party prioritises an open conversation about the future. Let's just imagine what is possible and what can be achieved and will be achieved when the government does likewise. Gurumila Mahu.